study your lessons now, boys, because we're going to draw them out. We're running behind for lunch. How about we just knock this out before lunch, right? Big deal. That cool with y'all? I'm not going to take forever. It'll take maybe 45 minutes, so we'll be 30 minutes late for lunch, okay? So here's what we're going to do. I want to show you all of the campaigns. Should I move this, or is this okay, camera dudes? Well, we're good? Okay. So it'll be better if you look at it there. You can probably see better. So within my business, I have 7 different campaigns, and there's use for all 7. So I'm going to walk you through some of them now. The first one is an automated launch, right? And here's how an automated launch works. You have 2 ways they can come to it. One is cold traffic. One is existing list, right? So cold traffic is what I'm spending the money on, right, in this ad campaign. Existing list is they came in from Ultimate Webinar Blueprint or something, and they were put in Decision Machine, and now they're pushed in there. Does that make sense so far? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so in cold traffic, they opt in. And then I'm putting them in a click sequence to make sure they watch video number 1. With my existing list, I'm simply putting them into a click sequence. No need for them to opt in. They're already on my list, right? Now I'm saying, did they click? If no, we have a contingency. This is campaign number 2. If yes, put them in video number 2. In video number 3. On each of these pages, there's an opt-in for them to get on early bird. If they opt in for early bird, they're in an early bird countdown sequence. Okay? You with me so far? Okay, cool. I'm going to run out of room on this, so I'm going to have to erase all of this stuff. All right? If at any point here they buy, they're out of the campaign. It's automatically going to take them out of that particular campaign. They're not going to get all the other launch stuff. It'll bother them, right? They'll just get all the other stuff, but not within the context of this campaign. All right, so I'm going to erase this part. Now notice I have a contingency here. What if they never click? So we need to address this. I'll address it for the next campaign. That's what this stands for, C2, campaign number 2. But for now, let's just assume they're in the campaign. So they've watched video number 2. They've watched video number 3. Now it's time for the launch to officially be open. So what I have now is a click sequence. The click sequence is just saying, hey, it's open. Go here, click this link, right, to find out about it. Are all of them going to click the link? No. Is it because they hate me and they don't want to know anything about selling information? Some, probably, but most, no. They just doing other stuff. That's okay. So if they never go to click the link and cart open, I'm going to push them out. They're out of this campaign, right? So they're going to go to C2, campaign number 2. If they do click the link, are all of them going to buy? Of course not. So now they're in a countdown sequence. And all of my stuff, like I said, and I'll say it a million times because it helps it not look too complicated, we've only got really 2 primary email sequences, a click sequence and a countdown sequence. You interchange them between campaigns, you know. So if they haven't purchased from their immediate visit, they're in the countdown sequence. Are they all going to buy? Nope. So if they don't buy, I put them in campaign number 2. All right? So we have a closed loop. They get in countdown or in campaign number 2. If they don't click video number 1, they're clearly not that interested, right? I'm doing it right now with the newer version of the auto launch just to test, but traditionally I won't keep sending them to video number 2 and 3. I don't know which one is better. It's too early to tell. So I'm going to teach you the classic way. This always worked. All right? So if they don't click video number 1, they're out. If they make it to the countdown sequence, but they never click the video sales letter, they're out. By the way, these are usually each 3 days long or 4. Same here. Series of 4 emails, right? So if they don't click the countdown, or if they don't click the VSL, they're out. If they click the VSL but don't buy, they're out. All out arrows point to campaign number 2. All right? What should we do with them in campaign number 2? Well, what I like to do is one of them good old automated webinars. In this particular case, love an automated webinar. So while I'm erasing, there are 3 types of webinars. There's automated, hybrid, and live. And their conversion is really in that order from descending to ascending. So automated doesn't convert as well as hybrid. A hybrid is when you're live at the beginning, then you press the recorded webinar, so you don't have to say the same thing 9 million times. Then you do the Q&A live, right? And then live it's all live. There's pros and cons to each. Automated is great. I'm going to have an automated. I've got one running. Actually, yeah, one's finishing right now for Ultimate Webinar Blueprint. So, yay. That's the pros of that. Totally hands off. The cons are they don't convert as well as the other ones. Should you not do them? Yeah, you should do them, man. On Friday, I got $6,000 from my automated webinar. It's great. I looked at yesterday's stats last night, 9,000 times, right? Holy crap, 6 sales for IBB from the little automated webinar. Yay. I don't think you should pretend it's live or do any of that happy crap, by the way. Just don't need any live people. So finally, the live ones convert better because you can interact with people. It's just a different energy. The cons to it are you got to show up and be there, and what if you get the flu like I did? No good, all right? I probably missed some revenue that day. Okay, so regardless, there are 2 ways people can get on your webinar. They can come from cold traffic, or they can come from your existing list. Okay, from cold traffic, you're sending traffic to a reg page, registration page. From your existing list, you're sending them to, first of all, it's a click sequence, so I'll draw CS. You're sending them here. If they don't register from your existing list, if they don't register, what do we do with them? They're out, right? No point in hassling them about this. They're not interested. That is how you can email your list 9 million times without them wanting to kill you, because you're behaviorally changing what you're emailing to them based on what they're doing. So if this answer here is no, we got C3, right? If the answer is yes and they're registered, then what I like to deploy, I'm testing it without one now, and it's not surprisingly, it's not working as well, so I'll build it. But what I like to deploy is something called an indoctrination sequence. This is one of the rare times when the email sequence doesn't have a goal attached. So an indoctrination sequence is a series of ideally 2 videos that you screen before the webinar that deliver value and overcome objections before the webinar even starts. The logic here is that if you're sending people from cold traffic, which you always need to be getting as much cold traffic as possible because it grows your asset base, which is your list. If you're sending people from cold traffic, they might have registered, but they got 9 million things to do. They don't know you. They don't trust you. If we can deliver results to them and value to them in advance of the webinar, it's going to increase their likelihood of attending because you've demonstrated you're good. And if you overcome objections before they even show up, it's going to shut off that yeah, but question that will allow them to actually learn from you. Does that make sense? So that's why we have this. The reason this sequence is different is because if they don't click these videos, it doesn't matter. They're still going to be sent to the webinar, right? This is just like a little additional stuff I'm using to pump it up. So from here, we basically have 3 or 4 scenarios. So first of all, did they attend? If the answer is no, because not all of them will, most of them won't, as a matter of fact, we re-invite. Okay, y'all with me? Because I know this is like super techie, and I'm trying to do it quickly so you don't starve on me. You good? All right, cool. All right, so let's assume they do attend. Right? Most won't, totally fine, no reason to freak out. It's normal. But the ones who do, now they've got, and Dana, this is what I want to build with you. I want to bring you up later, probably toward the end if that's all right, if you still have the energy for it. Good. So let's say they have attended, right? Well, we've got bailed early. Actually, you know what? I'm going to draw it over here. Sorry, y'all. I'll run out of room. Need a bigger whiteboard, man. Our headquarters, the whole, like every wall in there is whiteboarded. And they draw all over all of it. It's just, I mean, this all schemery. You would think we're like got nuclear secrets, and I'll go in there to the office to see them. I'm not really welcome there. So I'll go there relatively rarely, and it's just like a beautiful mind. Remember when was that the movie when Jim Carrey wrote, I mean, that's what's going on. I think Aurora's just, oh, show me the blueprints, show me the blueprints, show me the blueprints, like Howard Hughes and The Aviator at the end of it. It's awesome. So I'm not used to these smaller whiteboards. So anyway, do they bail early? They see the pitch? And do they buy? Right? Well, if they buy, we stop the campaign, like duh, okay? So this is pretty self-explanatory. If they bail early, or if they see the pitch, we do two different things. These are your most important people. These are the ones who are highly interested. These are the ones who deserve your greatest attention. So they've registered for this thing. They have shown up. They have stayed long enough to hear you yammer on to get to the point of the pitch. Surely, what? They're interested. They're not like, I am hating every second of this. The last thing I want is the result this person could probably help me. That's just not what's going on, you know? I mean, maybe it is like in internet marketing, you never know, right? I'm going to write down everything they're doing so I can see if I can reverse engineer. It's like, or you could just get to work, dumbhead, right? So, but whatever. But in most scenarios, that's why they're still here. So if they've seen the pitch but they still haven't purchased, first thing I like to do is, actually what we do now, this is even cooler, is we have text. Now in this case, I'm using an app called fixyourfunnel.com, by the way. Unbelievable app. It's a little bit hard to set up, but worth it. You know, it seems like the greater the dammits, the greater the check size. So when someone registers, we get their mobile number. And you got to be super compliant with this. So you got to say, hey, I'm going to text you reminders, and I'm going to text you after the webinar, and that's cool. And if it's not cool, like, you know, you figure out your own language in there. I'm not an attorney. No one should listen to me for any reason ever. All right? But if they have attended the webinar, they'll get a text from Ashley, automated, by the way, and it's a real text they can reply to. And that text will say, hey, Jim, thanks so much for showing on the webinar. I hope you liked it. Frank's got a surprise bonus I can give to the next 10 people. If you're interested, text me back. We started doing, where did we get that idea? It surely wasn't my idea. I had to have stolen it from somebody. I stole the idea from somebody. There's no way that I thought of that. Man, we started doing that, and our freaking webinar sales just blammo. I would love to, I need to sit down and think of some smart sounding reason as to why it works. I have no idea. It is totally illogical. You're online, you can click the button, you get a text, you have to go from your text thing and then text Ashley and then talk to Ashley. And doesn't make sense to me. Don't care. Huh? What are they asking Ashley? I don't know. Yeah. So he said, what happens when they text? Basically, we put them into Amway. Yeah. It's Amway. Who wants to be a millionaire? Yep. Yeah, so this is real simple. It's just text Ashley back if you're interested. And when they text back, 50 of them will text back in a day. And it all comes to the computer. It's not like she's on her phone. It comes to the computer, and she can have like 10 conversations going at a time. And each text conversation is designed to end up with a real conversation if they're interested. It's not pushy, like, hey, let me call you. It's like, hey, dude, how about I just jump on the phone real quick and help you out? It's easier than texting. Of course, it's a real person. They're friendly. And then the sale occurs. So it's super simple. It's not a million-mile-long text or any of that stuff. Did you like the webinar? We got some extra stuff for you, surprise bonus. Text me back if you're interested. That's it. If they don't text, we then email them because we don't have all of their mobile numbers. And we'll say, hey, guess what? I know you were on the webinar. And because you were on the webinar, I got a surprise for you. Text Ashley. She'll tell you what it is. Then they'll text. Then, if they don't reply or don't buy, we have something called an objection handling sequence, which I say to do more than I actually do because I hate money. So it only makes me extra money every single time I deploy the objection handling sequence. So as I say, not as I do type of thing here. The objection handling sequence is a series of 3 emails. I can't write and talk at the same time. 1, 2, 3. 3 emails that lead to a video. Each video is different. The video states their objection as a question and says, makes total sense. Here's how to overcome it, right? So I learned it on my consulting webinar, my advanced consulting class webinar. And one of the objections would be, what if nobody's ever heard of me or something? And I say, hey, a lot of people after the webinar written in said, I love this, but what if no one's ever heard of me? I say, you know what? Well, but you are conditioned to think that people must have heard of you before. In reality, here's how a good funnel works, and I would teach them, all right? Well, you want to get them to opt in. You want to deliver this value here, and just boom, boom, boom. And then at the end of the video, I'd say something like, hey, if you like this video and you're still here, you probably really want to learn how to get consulting clients, and that's why, yep, exact same pitch from the webinar. I've just stuck a new piece of goodwill in front of the pitch. Our income is directly proportional to the amount of conversion points and conversion mechanisms within a funnel and the amount of funnels we deploy, right? The more ways you can engage them to buy, the mo money thou shalt receiveth. Okay? If they still haven't bought, then we put them in a countdown sequence. Hey, you can only get this thing for X more days. Unless you hate America and Jesus and kittens, you should probably get it now. And then they'll buy or not, right? So we're taking components from like a product launch and bolting it to the end of a webinar. Only, in this case, we're doing a lot of extra work, right? Only after we have really built goodwill. Here, in this case, if they bail early, they're not as interested. Most people, like we talked about yesterday, are going to send them replays of the webinar. I still think, where are you? Is that British dude? My eyes are bad, so I can't see. One of y'all are sending people to replays. I really think we can beat your results doing this. Instead of sending them to the replay, we send them to a VSL. This is a click sequence. This means there's usually going to be about 3 emails to get them to click. If they click, they're now in. Actually, if they click it, they're now in this countdown sequence. So if they click the VSL and don't buy, they're put into a countdown sequence. We don't put the objection handling sequence here because they didn't go through the entire webinar presentation. So my logic is they just want to get to the point. They're like me. I don't need to see the objection. Do I want it or not, right? So that's why they're here. So if they don't buy, they're now in C3. So for C3, we have multiple ways they could get in. If they're already on your list and they don't register, they're in C3. If they do register, but they don't show up twice after re-invite, they're in C3. If they show up but don't buy, they're in C3. We're still within our closed loop. That make sense? Y'all good? You starving? Okay. Or you are starving? This is also a weight loss clinic, so we're just not going to eat. Yeah. We have these little floor-based exercise bike things. You just want to sit there and do that the whole time? I'm going to eat, but y'all can't. Okay, so the next campaign, and by the way, a lot of people say, well, dude, I sell XYZ. What campaign should I use? So an automated launch is good for something that is going to be around $300 and over. Otherwise, I mean, it can sell something that's under $300 for sure, but it's like hitting a nail with a sledgehammer. Why do you shouldn't have to work that hard. An automated webinar is about the same thing, right? And it's also very good for selling professional services. But in that case, you don't sell the service, you sell the consult, which leads to the service, and you seed the price of the consult with irresistible entry. Dana and I will go over it when I bring him up. And the next campaign is called a goodwill campaign, and I'll explain what it's for in a minute, but let me explain how it works. So the way someone gets into a goodwill campaign traditionally is if they're already on your list. If they're not already on your list, you can send someone into a goodwill campaign if you're selling something very high ticket, okay? So goodwill campaign is really simple. Let's just say it's from your existing list. It is a click sequence Actually, it doesn't even have to be a click sequence. It could just be a sequence that gets people to watch videos. So this will be watch. And in this particular case, if it's a true goodwill campaign, we don't really care if they watch the video or not, because goodwill campaigns are typically used as a buffer between campaigns. So if you're concerned about wearing out your list and you don't want to just be hammering them with stuff all the time, or if you have one product and you're using multiple campaigns to sell that same product from multiple angles, and you want to sort of reset their attention. Let's say that they just went through an automated launch and they went through a countdown sequence. They've kind of been in an intense selling environment. We don't want to put them right back into another intense selling environment. So sometimes I'll call this a buffer campaign. So in that particular case, you'll send them to a video, often using like a triangle of trust method, which some of you old school guys might remember what that is. That's where you put a piece of valuable content on a blog, right? You can either have it do absolutely nothing other than just provide goodwill and reset their attention, sort of kind of get them back, on balance so you can prepare them for the next campaign. The second use of it is it can be a very soft sell for the same product you've been trying to sell or an unrelated product. And the way that works is, here's the page you're sending them to. Here's the video. Video delivers tons of value. In your text below the video, you have a link which goes to the VSL or the sales letter for the product. So this is really, really soft. Strangely, this is highly underutilized and wildly profitable. I have won multiple affiliate contests on the last day of launches by only sending these. I'll get I remember Dan Kennedy's Make Them Buy Now thing. I flew out to wherever it was, Cleveland, interviewed Dan, and sent my list to the interview, and in the copy, it didn't even really say much in the video, and the copy's like, hey, if you like this interview, you're probably gonna like Dan's Make Them Buy Now product, you can get it here. Super soft sell, tons of value here, right? Made me money. You can use someone else's video from YouTube if it is on a topic that is related to your offer, and then in the copy say, hey, let's say you're selling tomato gardening secrets, and the video is of the world's largest tomato, right? And there's some woman earning the award for the biggest tomato in the world. I don't know why I always go to tomatoes. You can put that video on your blog, copy can you believe how big this tomato was? By the way, if you want to grow really big tomatoes, probably won't be as big as this lady's. I'm pretty sure she's an alien. Click here to learn more at Tomato Gardening Secrets. Real simple. It's not going to get you rich, but it's still going to monetize that step, right? The third way to use it is if you were selling something expensive and you must have a consult before the sale occurs. So like Dana's business, he's an attorney for people divorcing, for consultants like Fernando, for example. You always want to talk to them before you close them. People don't usually give you 20, 30 grand over the internet, even if they know you. It's just kind of, duh, right? They usually need to have their questions answered. So in this case, you can actually have a whole campaign of it. And if you do that, if you're wanting to do something like that, you're going to have a series of videos. Each video is going to address something that's important to the prospect, ideally on the escape and arrival continuum, and I'll diagram that for you after lunch, by the way, so y'all who don't know what I'm talking about will know what I'm talking about. But basically, if I'm selling marketing consulting specifically about online marketing to existing businesses, this video might be how to find out which ads are most profitable. This video might be how to rally your sales team for your best leads or something. At the end of every video, I will make a pitch for the consult, right? So I would say, hey, you know what? If you're really serious about growing your online business and you need some help deploying what you've learned in today's video, I'd be delighted to help you. I set aside some time to help you. And then you go into what's known as an irresistible entry offer framework, right? So for this works great for that particular environment, right? So you got three reasons, three different cases in which you could use this. Really good after an automated launch, really good after an automated webinar, or between the two, because it's goodwill, and you can kind of sell very subtly, which works awesome, okay? So the fourth type of campaign that I will show you is the 4-day cash machine 2.0. Actually, I'll show you the 4-day cash machine first. So 4-day cash machine is usually your existing list. And in this case, this is another one of the really rare cases where you're not using a click sequence. This is a straight email sequence. This actually is directly to a countdown sequence. So you go straight into a countdown sequence. And what's happening is you right off the bat say, hey, I'm having a sale, special offer on XYZ. It is good up until X date, right? So straight into like a flash sale. So every email will dynamically insert the date of expiration, and the web page will have a countdown timer on it. What makes this triply effective is if you start adding bonuses on days 2, 3, and 4. So on day number 2, you add a bonus. Day number 3, you add 2 bonuses. Day number 4, you add 3 bonuses. You are taking the psychological driver of self-interest and compounding it against the psychological driver of scarcity to make the combination of those two greater than double of what it is. Does that make sense? I called that, I don't know where I got these names from, I called it the death grip back in the mass control days. No wonder nobody likes internet marketers, you know. But it's really, it's stacking the cool, right? It's a way to wrap the iron fist of the scarcity in nice, velvety goodness of more gifts, okay? So that works really, really well. If they don't buy it, you put them into C5, campaign number 5 in this case. So campaign number 5 is a 4-day cash machine 2.0. And this one, by the way, the place you would use this would be, let's say you only have one product. All right? You're just selling one. By the way, I'm going to show you today how to literally come up with 36 different ways using something called the revenue expander, 36 different ways to sell the same product. So don't you worry about, how am I going to deploy all this stuff? You ain't ever going to have a problem with this again. All right? Let's say they came in from an automated launch, didn't buy. Put them in a goodwill campaign to sort of give them some breathing room. Then you put them in an automated webinar. They still didn't buy. If they've attended that automated webinar and they participated in the automated launch, they still haven't bought, it's probably going to make sense to offer them a discount, right? So this is where you would use that in an automated fashion, even if you just had one product to offer, which of course your income, if done properly, is going to be directly proportional to the amount of products that you have to offer as well, because you can just keep stacking all of this stuff. All right, the next campaign is 4-day cash machine 2.0. Right? 4-day cash machine 2.0 is a little more subtle. So the way 4-day cash machine 2.0 works is you can do from cold traffic to existing list. All right? Cold traffic is going to opt in. Existing list is going to go through a click sequence. Actually, hang on. So in this case, you're sending people to a tutorial-style VSL. Tutorial-style VSL wraps an offer around goodwill. My video black box VSL is a classic example of it. I've given you all the framework of how I built that pitch, by the way, complete with slides and the steps. So if you go through my stuff, you'll see how to do it. So they're opting in to get a tutorial. At the end of that tutorial video, you're making an offer. The offer is for a product at a discount. All right? That makes sense? So kind of almost like 4-day cash machine, but here's the difference. In this case, you're not mentioning the discount in the emails. You're just saying, I've made this cool tutorial for you. It shows you how to do some stuff. Check it out here. Because your VSL is very front-loaded with value. It can't be a fake tutorial, by the way. It can't be like, hey, here's how to make money online. Buy low, sell high. Now, here's my get-rich-quick 2,000. That's not going to work, right? It's got to really genuinely be valuable. So the way this video looks, the way the page looks, is there's you, there's a timer, and then there's a delayed buy button. All right? When they click it, that's what they see. Are most of them going to buy? course not. So if they click, the answer is yes here, and they don't buy, now they're put into a countdown sequence. I like to set it at 4 days. I like this timer to be 4 days out. I like this video to say, hey, and since you're watching this tutorial right now, you're going to be thrilled to know for the next 4 days, you can get the thing I'm talking about in the tutorial for X% off. Does that make sense? Now these emails are matching this timer. So when they get email number 2, this thing is now down to 3 days. Email number 3, this is 2 days. Email number 4, this is expires today. It's all synchronized through synchronizationalism, which is something I invented, okay? It works really, really well. And then if they don't buy, the answer is no, they're out, right? And they get put into another campaign. And if they don't click after opt-in or from your existing list, actually, let's put in here for next, right? They're put into the next campaign. So this is beautiful. My secret sale, which sold Legacy Collection, 4-day cash machine, 2.0, right? Easy. It's just a restructuring of the 4-day cash machine 2.0. Blisteringly effective. So there's one more that is highly complicated called Survey Siphon that'll take me forever to diagram out, so I won't do it because I think you'll be like, okay, this was cool until he showed me all that highly technical stuff, so I won't bother you with it. But all that stuff that I showed you, the decision machine and all of that, is the backbone of it are these campaigns. So if you want these campaigns and you haven't enrolled in our implementation bootcamp thingy yet, and you want to, I don't think we have many spots left over. That was my big pitch for it, by the way. This is what we do. So we take the campaigns that I have built and we import them into your Infusionsoft application for you. So all of the sequences are set up. You just edit the emails. We hook you up with Megaphone. So we don't build your web pages for you, but we just hook you up with Megaphone. We bring you here to San Diego, show you how to use everything. It's all installed before you get here, by the way. So all you do is configure, all right, what do I want to name this list? Which campaign do I want to start with? What link do I want to send them to in the email and stuff? So you'd still have to do some work, but there are less dammits. There's about 99% less dammits. So it's a big reduction in dammits. So it's a very good workshop if you would like to attend. So now we is going to go to the lunch. Was that helpful, by the way? That's how you make a soft pitch, by the way, right there. All right. So, ooh, Lord, we got Andy Jenkins coming at 1:30. Can y'all have a short lunch, or do you want to make Andy wait? Your short lunch? 1:30? You can do it? You can do it. Thank you for your invite to dinner, but I didn't get it till like 11. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, off we go.